Hello, I'm Atsy Smartsy Mum. Some of you may know me from over on Instagram, where I have a feed where I share both my artwork and my experiences of living with a chronic illness and mental health conditions. I also share practical advice on dealing with both of them and advice from the side of a professional. I wanted to bring some of this over onto a vlog medium and bring some of the art side over as well. I thought one of the best ways of doing so, and one of the good opening ways of doing so, was to bring over, well, a piece of work that I'd been working on alongside quite a few YouTubers recently from the ASMR community that would be a good opener. So I thought I would paint in the face of the Queen and the Princess on this piece, who are, if you do watch ASMR, Whisperwind ASMR. She did a collaboration with many ASMR artists and over spring for the equinox, and I've been painting this since. So I hope you enjoy watching me fill the faces in, and as I do so, I'll talk a bit about painting and a bit about what hopefully this channel aims to bring in the coming months. So first of all, these two characters, they are going to be based on the same individual, which is Whisperwind. One, the Queen, is going to be the elder of the two, so I'm trying to age up her. I have a reference shot of the person she played, but it's only head based, so I'm guessing from then onwards. As you can see, I've got hair already on there, but we're working with lilacs and purple, so I've got an undertone on so far of a deeper colour, just to basically pull out some depth. So I'm going to start working on that as we're talking, because she's got quite long hair in the photos, and then I'll tell you a bit more about me. So as I said, I have a chronic illness. I've been ill for quite a long time now. I have been unable to work due to it, and I used to work within the medical profession as a nurse. I retrained as a social worker when my body left me unable to work within nursing. I have, well, yeah, I learnt a lot about and worked a lot with autism. I worked a lot within that field to, well, first of all help, but then it became a very personal endeavour as well. I unfortunately very quickly into the career of social work, I had to stop. I never stopped learning. I still learn a lot about mental health even to this day, and still help, and psychology is my first passion. But when you stop being able to do what you can do, it takes a lot from you. And my entire everything was based around academic and being an academic means and being able to help people. So I became very trapped in my own home, and still am. My PTSD causes me to have panic attacks when I try to go outdoors, and that's exceptionally restrictive. So that side beared in mind, when COVID hit and you've spent years like that, it was difficult when you've got the training to help and you feel like you can't. You have a couple of choices. You can either sit there and get very fed up with the world, which I did for a little bit, or find a way. And my way ended up being writing about what the key workers in our local community were doing, sharing bits of art to try and highlight the different roles, from those working, well, within shops, hospitals, engineering roles, lifeboats, any particular role I could find to write about, I did. I think I wrote over, I think we got to 170 articles in the Enden Rocks. It got quite far in, and it's all still up on my blog on Instagram if any of you are interested. And in fairness, I didn't really expect it to go anywhere. I'd given up on me and pretty much resigned myself to the fact that really no one really wanted to actually hear what I had to say on the world. But if I could do something to highlight what these people were doing and the difficulties that we have in these situations, and it might make their life a little bit easier, and I might be a little bit less, resigned to being on the rubbish heap, which is where I felt like I was. So that continued into the summer. I continued writing, painting, posting, and well, months later, I'm still doing it. Except I started also writing about my own journey and what it felt like to be stripped of your individuality and what made you you, what you felt like to feel like you'd been thrown on this rubbish heap and left by society and no longer have this use. And I started to redefine myself no longer as that ex-nurse and ex-social worker. I started to see myself as someone that could maybe have some level of use again, which it was a good start for a future. So yeah, a few months in, I started to try and think, well, if we're going to go down the path of trying, maybe I could start actually writing and using some of that knowledge that I'd worked so hard to get to actually help, use some of the psychological knowledge and start sharing it, which is what I want to do here too. I'm in a unique position of not only going through PTSD, not only going through anxiety, not only having chronic illnesses, I actually also understand the ins and outs of the medical side, and I found that's left me able to write about it and share stories in a way that can make a difference. But Instagram has a limit in which I can do so. The story lengths are short, yet my ability to write and do so, and how much I can do so, will always remain limited because of the strain of blogging. I manage to use paintbrushes because of the emotion, but as soon as I start blogging, my mind gets jammed up or I get lost. But if I talk, it's more free. So I'm hoping by talking to you this way, I might be able to get a bit more in and share a bit more with you. Plus, I'm also very mindful that we all access content in different ways, and whereas I've always been one that likes to read, especially when it comes to more academic content, which sometimes I can get lost in, some people like video content and they like to see artwork done in a way that progresses like this, not just look at videos. They like to watch it get done, which I understand. I like watching progress art myself. So I'm hoping I can make content that is something people will enjoy, something that you can take something from and make a difference out there. And if this is something that is for you guys, this is something that you think you would have any topics you wish me to discuss, then please let me know in the comments. At the moment, on my page, I'm doing a couple of big series. We're discussing chronic matters, which in the last week we did lupus. We discussed what the condition was, what it meant to people. We've discussed what it means to have an invisible illness, the impacts on somebody's life, their family, the surrounding impacts on loss of friendships. We've discussed, discussing spoon theory in the next week, so that'll be one that comes up. Need to lower the eye there, or up, lower the increase the brow on the princess there. That'll occur in the coming bit. But yeah, so we'll be discussing spoon theory. We discussed fibromyalgia, and all these topics get discussed on how they impact not only the person with the illness, but how they impact the family, the carers, and those around them. I've also discussed what it's like being a mum, because I have a lovely 6-year-old boy, but obviously being a mum with a chronic illness, it's really different than being a mum without one. I'm in a wheelchair, I'm housebound most of the time, so I very much rely on extended family for support, as well as my husband. And parenting is a very different experience than it is normally, but it doesn't mean we don't find our ways. People with chronic illness, we are just as capable of being parents, we just do it differently. And it took me a long time to even come close to accepting that, and there's days when I don't, because of how society makes you feel. You get very lost in preconceptions from others. And on the mental health one, I'm running a big series right now called Breaking the Silence, and it's looking at a lot of the things that we are pretty much avoid talking about. So we've discussed a lot of men's mental, we are discussing men's mental health. That's one I've just done a piece of art for today. But we are also doing things like children's mental health and the current rise in cases, which is a particularly big issue right now in England. I haven't looked at the global scale, but I'm pretty sure right now that is going to be just as large. And by the research before I did discuss it is always done. So yeah, and yeah, that's me. As I said, I'm artist marketing mum, and the closing statement I say on all my pages, is stay safe and well, guys. So I'm going to stick to it the same here. So please look after yourselves, look after your friends and your family members. Stay safe and well.